Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tucker and Crowley Report, part of News Now and the Belmont Journal. I'm joined by Franklin Tucker, editor of the Belmontonian, and I'm Mike Crowley. So, Franklin, Belmont had an election this week.
Yeah,
What kind of results are we seeing?
Yes, we had the annual town election happened on Tuesday, and we had a great result for the supporters of the new municipal rink, which won by 1,500 votes, which was a great, outstanding number.
It was over 60% of the vote, wasn't it?
That's right, about 61% of the vote. You could see early in the night that they reversed many of the totals that they had in the previous election in November. The precinct numbers, the first two precinct numbers, were overwhelming for the rink. I think what the rink supporters had an advantage of is, let's be frank, they had there was 5,000 less voters. So their supporters came out while the people who may not have supported the rink stayed home.
Well, that's interesting. How about the other issues on the ballot?
Well, there was the elected and to appointed treasurer. That appointed treasurer won 2-1. It was like 66 to 33%, and that was expected because no one was advocating for an elected treasurer, and
nobody was running.
No one was running, so there was anybody who you could actually vote for. We had, I think it was a very tepid kind of school committee race between three candidates who were very similar. They had similar issues. They were very friendly to each other. There's no controversy. I think people were voting basically on signs. So Amy Zuccarello
had the most signs.
Yeah, she had the most signs. A well-known Belmont resident. And has a good feel for what's happening on the school committee, and Jung Yue finished second, and Rachel Watson was last in the field.
All right. Anything else interesting about the races? I guess there were no other competitive races.
Well, there were competitive races in town meeting, and there was a number.
That's right.
There was a number of incumbents who didn't make the 12-person field in each of the precincts. Some of them, there were some well-known people who are not incumbent, who do not win their race. Like Brett Sorensen, who's been around for 25 years in town meeting in Precinct 7. He lost out. And Jack Alcott and Ian Watson in 3, and Linda Oates in 6. So it was interesting results. We had in Precinct 1, we had Adam Dash come back. He's now no longer on the select board, but he is on town meeting. And the person who almost won I like always to look at who gathers the greatest number of votes among all 8 precincts, and
begins with an A.
That's right. It did. He did indeed. Angus James Benedict Abercrombie, 18 years old, an Emerson freshman, is now on the town meeting, coming in with 544 votes. Only Susanna Croy in Precinct 6 bettered him by 2 votes. But he did a great job. I mean, he knocked on every door he could in his neighborhood. He got profiled in the Boston Globe. He had a slick website. Like 18-year-old, of course he's going to have a slick website. He got photographed with the governor, and he just did a bang-up job. Everybody knew who he was, and he had, of course, the best name. I mean, yeah. So he'll be there on May 3rd or 4th when we start town meeting, and he'll find out how boring it is.
Okay. And did we already mention the appointed town treasurer?
Yes, we did.
Oh, we did. But then moving on, let's talk about who's been appointed.
That's right. Who has been appointed? Jennifer Hewitt, who is our financial director, has been appointed town treasurer by Patrice Garvin, our town administrator. But
now, is she giving up? Is she giving up the job that she's held?
no, that's because her appointment is only until June 30th, when they hopefully will find somebody who can go out and do the job. And this job no longer will have that it won't be a center of financial management, because the town treasurer will now become basically support staff and will report to Jennifer, Ms. Hewitt, the financial director, and will be an equivalent of like the town accountant.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about the select board? We had Elizabeth Dion. She was unchallenged for the one seat that was open. She won. What kind of changes are we now seeing in the select board with her joining the select board?
I think you see somebody who's detail oriented, somebody who who's looking to make change, somebody who's not going to just vote to keep meetings under an hour. She's going to be a good addition, because we really haven't had that person who has this an overview of what Belmont can be. Well, we saw some changes already on the first day. Usually we call an organizational meeting the day after, or 2 days or 3 days after the election, and that's when in the past the three select board members would vote on who would be the next chair. Now, what's happened is they've established a change where that they won't get a new chairman until July 1st.
Now that's unusual, because traditionally the first meeting after the election is the organizational meeting, as it would be for example, the school committee. Or
so what basically is Mark Palillo will be the chairman until June 30th.
Okay.
And then Roy Epstein will take over the chair, which is another change. That there used to be a vote to decide who was going to be the chair. Now that's just going to be part of just a regular schedule, basically. The vice chair from the year before will then succeed, and the new person will take over the last seat, basically, the third seat, or the second seat, I should say. What they're going to do also is that there's no longer going to be a vote, and that's because what and this is something that Roy was talking about, and that is it's much more efficient to have somebody take over as chair after town meeting, after the budget is done, because you have to have, when you're the chair and you're going through the budget process, you keep the same person in there, and it has more continuity, and it's much more efficient.
All right. Moving on to sports.
That's right, sports season. We're raring to go. Everything's happening. We had a big victory for boys lacrosse. First time in over a decade that they've beaten a perennial powerhouse in the Middlesex League, and they did it in double overtime, which is a great result for the boys. They're now 2-1. The girls, with a new coach, the vice principal of the high school, they came out and had a great game, but they also had a situation where they were affected by a national trend, and that was they only had one official show up in Melrose for their game in Melrose, and they basically postponed the game because no officials, and that's something that we're seeing all across the country.
Now, what would be the reason for that?
The requirement in lacrosse is to have two officials, basically, so they don't have to run up and down the field. So you just have half a field to look at. You have more eyes on the field. And they just they waited and the person didn't show up. So, it's an unfortunate thing, and we've been hearing a lot more of that. It hasn't affected Belmont sports all that much, except for on the JV side. But this may be something that we have to be prepared for. People not showing up.
That's unfortunate.
Girls rugby had a great opening. They took on the second best team in the league and beat them. I think it was like 48-0. They ran over them. So it's great that you have a dominating team, but I don't think that really helps the sport because who wants to be beat up by Belmont? It's true. They're such a great team. It's astonishing. You should, but please go see all our sports. Softball has started. I believe Belmont beat Cambridge by 1 run in the 6th inning. It was great for the girls softball team, which doesn't get a lot of press, including for me. But baseball is also starting, and they're still waiting for their field, which will come next year, which will be next to the next to the middle school.
So where are they playing in the meantime?
Belmont Hill, also in Waltham.
Okay.
They're pretty much a nomad kind of team right now, and that's that's a sad thing because you want to go to a place on a regular basis to see that team.
So we'll be waiting for next year.
That's right. And next year we will have on the sports theme about the rink. Yes, hockey will have to find their own home. Both boys and girls hockey will have to find a home for next year. But the rink should be ready to open on November of 2024. So that's a good thing.
Oh, that quickly.
That's right.
No.
It's not rocket science to build just a slab of concrete and put walls and a roof around it.
Now, when do we expect construction to begin on the rink?
July 1st is when they're going to start demolition.
Okay.
And people should realize this. We are going to have 2 major construction projects across Concord Avenue from each other for over a year. That's going to be, and with the high school and that madness, because I got caught in that madness, how many kids are coming, it's going to be wild for about, for starting this summer. Because the library is also starting in the end of the summer, and it's just going to be a lot of traffic, a lot of building in that area.
All right. So if you can find, beginning towards the end of the summer, if you can find an alternate route to avoid Concord Avenue.
Yeah, Elon Musk's autoplanes. That may be what we have to use.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Franklin. And you can see more of Franklin's reporting at belmontonian.com. Be sure to check in with us next time, and we will see you then.